Hello students, in this session we are going to see branching control structures. In this we will see introduction, if construct, if else construct, and some of the example programs to illustrate if and if else constructs. Learning objectives are: you will be learning what is branching statements, and you learn what and how to use about if statement. You'll also learn what is if else statement and how to use it. After the session, you should be able to write a simple C program to solve different problems, as you'll be having a knowledge of operators, branching, and IO statements. Prerequisites for this session is that you should have completed or learned the first unit and have understood IO statements. So start getting into main content. As you know, in C programming, the instructions are executed sequentially. But in some situations, we need to execute certain set of statements if some condition is true, and the other set of statements if another condition is true. This type of situation will arise while you are coding for certain tasks or certain application. In such cases, you have to use decision control instructions or statements. This can be achieved using if statement or if else statement or other conditional operators. So let us see if statement. The if constructor is used to test the validity of a condition. The syntax is if, then in round brackets condition, and then the statements. If there is a single statement, then no need of left and right curly brackets. That is, you don't need to enclose the statements within the curly brackets if there is only one statement. If there are a set of statements, you need to enclose the if block within the curly braces, and then the next statement, statement n. This is syntax of the if statement. Here, if the condition becomes true or the expression becomes true, then only the control flow will enter into the if block, and it will execute these statements within this block sequentially. After this, it will come out of the if loop and then execute the statement n, or the statement immediately after this if block. If at all, if the condition is false or the expression is false, then it won't enter into the if block. It won't enter into the if block. Straight away, the flow of control will come to the statement n. If the condition or the expression inside this if block turns out to be true, then only the flow of execution enters into if block. Otherwise, it won't enter into the if block. This is the overview of the if statement. So let us see an example. Assume while purchasing certain items, a discount of 10% is offered if the quantity purchased is more than 1000. Only if your quantity that you are purchasing is more than 1000, then only a discount of 10% is offered. If the quantity and price per item are input through a keyboard, write a program to calculate the total expenses, right? So you have to calculate discount if the quantity is more than 1000. So if you carefully observe this program, there is a main program or a main function. You are just declaring and initializing some values, some variables. You are taking the quantity and rate. If quantity is more than 1000, then only put a discount of 10%. If quantity is more than 1000, if this condition becomes true, then only the flow of execution will come here, and this equals 10 would be executed. Otherwise it won't execute this equal to 10 statement. You just go to the next statement. Thus, when the quantity purchased is more than 1000, then only discount is put and the total amount is calculated. Otherwise the discount is not put, thus it will calculate the different total amount, and the same is printed here. Here there is 1200 quantity which is more than 1000, thus discount will be put for this. The if statement will be executed here, and this is the total amount. Whereas for this quantity is 200, so if statement won't be executed. If statement will turn out to be false, thus if block won't be executed, thus this is the total amount. Right. So this is a kind of flow chart for the if block. It will check here if the quantity is more than 1000. If yes only, it will come to the inside the if block and the discount is put, and then it will come out and it will calculate the total amount and then print. If this quantity is less than 1000, then if block won't be executed, so it will come out directly without getting into the if block, and it will calculate the total amount and just print without any discount. Now let us see if else statement. If you need to execute some statements, if some certain condition is true, if that condition is not true, then you need to execute another set of code. Then you should use if else statement. That is what he is telling here. If you execute one group of statements, if the expression evaluates to true, another group of statements if the expression or condition evaluates to false. Okay, so for example here, assume that basic salary of a person is less than 1500, then the HR equals 10% of the basic salary and DA equals 90% of the basic salary. And if his salary is more than or equal to 1500, then there is a different calculation, right? HR equals 500 rupees and DA equal to 98% of the basic salary. And if the employee's salary is input through a keyboard, you would write a program to find the gross salary. Then you could observe that if it is less than 1500, you have to do a certain set of activity. So you would write a code for generating the HRA and DA appropriately. And if the salary is equals to or more than 1500, you have to have another set of activities or a code line for calculating the HRA and DA appropriately. Thus, you would need to execute two kinds of code blocks based upon certain condition. The condition is that salary is less than 1500 or equals to or more than 1500. Thus, in this, if you observe this main function, once you enter the basic salary, you are comparing the basic salary, and if it is less than 1500, you are calculating HRA and DA based upon this logic, first logic, and else means that the basic salary is equals to or more than 1500. In that case, you have to go with the second logic, and once you get HRA and DA, you just calculate the gross salary, which is the word basic salary plus HRA plus DA. Add HRA and DA with to the basic salary, then you get a gross salary. Just print that, right? So if this is true, if basic salary is less than 1500, it will get inside this. After that, it won't enter the else block. It will just come directly out here and get the gross salary and print. If gross salary, if the base salary is more than 1500, then this if statement condition will be false, so it will directly come to else block. Then these statements will be executed. So correspondingly calculate the HRA and DA and will come out here. Then the calculated HRA and DA will be added to basic salary and gross salary is calculated and will be printed in this statement. Hope you got it. A simple flowchart is like this. Start, then input the basic salary. If basic salary is less than 1500, you have a logic which is, see here we have to say yes or no, right? So if basic salary is less than 1500, yes. If this is true, then it has to come here, it has to calculate this logic and then finally add that and print it. If false, if basic salary, whatever the user has inputted, is less than 1500, is a false, means that it's more than or equal to 1500. Then if it is false, it will calculate different HRA and DA. Then it will come here and it will calculate the gross salary and print it, right? So this is a if else statement. A quick recap of what we studied in this session. The if construct is used to test the validity of a condition or expression. If it is passes or if it is true, then statements within the if block will be executed. In if else construct is used to execute either of the code blocks, that is if code block or else code block, based on the condition turns out to be false or true. That is, if condition is passed, then it will be true. If the condition is failed, then it will be false. So based upon true or false of the condition in the if block, the code block execution will change. If in the if block, if the condition is true, then if block will be executed. In the if block, if the condition is false, then it will directly come to else block and execute the else block and come out of the branching statements. These are the references. Thank you.